Incredibly expensive video games are not necessary and contribute to job losses, Exec says. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's appropriate. Saber Interactive founder Matthew Karsh has shared some pointed words about the state of the AAA video game market. Speaking to a reporter, Stephen Tulu, aboard a private jet that he paid $23 million for, Karsh said incredibly expensive AAA games may become a thing of the past and are contributing to the string of job losses in the market today. I think that the age of the 200 million, 300 million, $400 million AAA game is on its way out. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's appropriate, Karch said. The executive went on to say he believes the cost associated with making such big budget games may help explain why the video game industry is seeing so many layoffs today. I don't know how best to put it. I think if anything has contributed more to the loss of jobs, it's the multi-$100 million budget, he said. In 2023, Koch's Beacon Interactive bought certain assets from Saber's parent company, Embracer, as part of a divestiture from Embracer's business operations in Russia. It was at this time that Koch and Embracer officially parted ways, with Beacon effectively buying Saber out of Embracer. Before this, Koch lamented how games are getting cut left and right due to certain economic conditions within the video game business. The consolidation that's been going on in the industry is going to hurt that as well, and the cost and the turmoil that the industry has been going through. Teams will regroup, but the capital at the moment, it just isn't there, he told GI.biz. And so the industry is actually contracting somewhat, and the supply of content is going to be way short of the demand. Koch has also questioned the $70 price point for games, saying he would prefer not to charge that much and believes it's almost not fair to do so. He cited Helldivers 2, which launched at $40, as being an example of a lower priced game that went on to enjoy huge success. One of Saber's bigger recent releases was 2024's Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, which was priced at $70, despite what Koch thinks about that price point. Saber's Tim Willits, commenting on the success of Space Marine 2, said, "It's a sad truth that many game studios declare a game a failure if it doesn't sell 5 million copies. I mean, what business are we in where you fail if you sell less than 5 million?" he said. So let's look at the comments and then I'll give my thoughts. Gawker Fools goes, and there it is, the truth. Keep prices below $70. Best $50 if you want people to keep buying your stuff. Otherwise, it will be in the bargain bin before it is bought up. Girl You So Crazy says, apparently, so much of the reason that video games became incredibly expensive is because of mismanagement. Jason Shearer writes, most alarmingly, games are growing more expensive because of rampant mismanagement, because of companies chasing trends, making bad bets, and lacking a clear creative vision. Inefficient workflows, technological shifts, and insecure executives can all be the cause of wasted time, which quotes to higher budgets. There's the feature that gets canceled because the CEO's teenage kid didn't like it, or the level that everyone knows is going to get axed, but that they all have to keep working on it because the cancellation hasn't officially been communicated yet. Or maybe it already has been canceled and nobody told the audio team. It's worth noting that video games do need ample iteration to be good, and some of the most successful games have been the result of a so called wasted work. Uh, Cuts and cancellations are not always a mistake, but there are also countless examples of teams of hundreds floundering in pre-production as they try to figure out what his game's core loop will actually look like. That might seem like welcome news for workers who get to relax for a while until crunch time comes along and there's no more leeway for the game to slip. There's also a pretty good video breaking it down you can find here. Folks accept uncritically that games are too expensive to make without asking why the suits who are literally in charge of how much things cost aren't in charge of how much things cost. Guess what class of B are to blame? Has anyone asked them why games are too expensive to make but executives aren't too expensive to pay? That's the end of the article. Maybe it is time to turn the spotlight more on the management and for the game media to start asking questions regarding the failure of management of unsuccessful games and how they will improve management in the future. It sounds like companies would do better making a smaller concept that is fun and then building on that if it is successful. Some companies have let employees work on their own pet projects during company time, using company resources on paid time. It is a certain percentage of their workday that they get to spend on this. Some excellent games have come out of people working on what they find fun, and this approach might also be good. And Welvin said, sounds like he's describing post ME3 DAI BioWare, Anthem, Andromeda, and Veilguard, all games that wallowed in development hell. Anthem said they could never decide on what the core of the games was. Andromeda and Veilguard both went through multiple iterations before they settled on the final form. Anthem and Andromeda were both forced out before they were ready, simply because someone decided they had been in development long enough and they didn't want to spend more money on them. Veilguard was at least allowed to be finished, but it is a failure because it was crazy successful enough to recoup 10 years of development time. It what could honestly. Um, so and they cite the article. Okay, so yeah. Um, Basically, this executive is just saying, and the second article, person who wrote the second article, is just saying what every gamer's been thinking for a while. Every time we hear games are too expensive to make, why do you need a two, three, $400 million budget? Even with inflation, the resources you need don't cost that much. Um, Dr. Games 101 and me, when we talk offline, he used to tell me that he thought a video game crash was looming. And I always said, if a video game crash does happen, it's not going to be like 1985 or 84 in the States. It's going to be more like, uh, it's going to be basically the AAA game companies crash, but the independent developers and the small development teams, I think, are going to be just fine. Yeah, because you force out a game, and if it's been in development for 10 years and you've been working on it for 10 years, how are you supposed to make all your money back on that? So there's a few things that and also let's look at the budget of these CEOs that tell the development team and the audio team what to do, the team leaders basically. Um, why do they get a guaranteed payday even if their game that they were in charge of the team of fails? They still get a multi-million dollar payday. And I'm not just talking 2, 3 million. I'm talking like 40, 50, 60, 70 million. What other industry can you get paid that kind of money if your project fails? But no one's asking that question. Developers have also said, well, games are just more expensive. Well, yeah, I mean, if I made the joke with Concord because it lost $200 million and it was out for 2 weeks. Yeah, if you're spending half the gaming budget on blow and prostitutes, of course you're gonna lose money on it. But that's beside the point. Um, in all seriousness, these that's and then the games also there's uh, there's a decline in quality. You pay 70. You want us to pay $70 for a game or even more. You want to go up to say $100, meaning the deluxe version is going to be $150. So people pay for the deluxe version, and the deluxe version doesn't even work. If the deluxe version is about $100 now, and we can't guarantee that that works right from the start, why would anyone feel confident paying $100 for the base game? So yeah, I agree. This start with smaller projects, and like I said, and like he said, build on it. You know what? Make a 40, $50 Grand Theft Auto game, and then you know what they did with Grand Theft Auto 4. They had Grand Theft Auto 4 come out for like $60, um, and then episodes from Liberty City, The Ballad of Gay Tony, and The Lost and Damned were expansions with missions and stories of their own. But both people that you controlled in those expansions, Miko had met during the original campaign of Grand Theft Auto 4. You could do that. And then they even released both games, both expansions together as Grand Theft Auto 4 episodes from Liberty City, which I bought in the store, um, which had both expansion campaigns on the same disc. There's no reason you can't do that, but developers just, well, not even developers. I think the CEOs, it's just pure greed, and they're. But the thing is, the more that uh, we get subpar games, games that don't work, or games that are just not fun to play, that aren't worth the price that they want to charge, then basically you're just um, increasing the chances of a current day video game crash happening. So I definitely agree with what this person said and the second article. Um, yeah, it's not. It's you don't have to make if you can't if it's too expensive to make a 100-hour game. I've even said it before. Okay, make the first 50 hours and release it. You can always release the next 50 hours as DLC or downloadable or just download only, digital only content. If the first 50-hour campaign is people love and they want to get more. I'm not saying leave it off as a cliffhanger, but I'm just saying you could always, if you got creative writers. If you wanted to go back into Red Dead Redemption 2, you could create a side story for anyone that was in John or Arthur's camp, and basically make a story for them that paralleled the same time Red Dead Redemption 2 was happening. If you wanted, they did it for Grand Theft Auto 4 as my example with episodes from Liberty City. Um, and that's how you keep costs low. Don't make games that are too expensive to make, and also hold the higher ups responsible. Don't just ship out a game because it's been in development too long. Don't, and also I'd say don't even pay these guys. But why not make these CEOs like give them a base salary so they can still live, but say if they want that extra money, then that game's got to be a success. If the game is a failure, like Suicide Squad, the base pay is all that CEO's getting for that game. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Hit the thumbs up, and I'll catch you next time.